I'd just like to acknowledge a few of them up front and thank them very much for their early support. The Honorable Rod Bockenfeld, the Arapahoe County Commissioner, Honorable Bob Broom, Aurora City Council, former City Councilwoman Nadine Caldwell, Honorable Bob Fitzgerald, Aurora City Council, Ralph Christie, the President and CEO of Merrick, the Honorable Bob Laguerre, former council member, Honorable Bill Owens, former Governor of Colorado, Honorable Rainey Peterson, former Aurora City Council member, Brad Pierce, a current City Council member, and Honorable Sue Sandstrom, the newly elected Arapahoe County Treasurer. Also, Honorable Deb Wallace, former council member for Aurora, Mason Whitney, the Major General retired, the Adjunct General of Colorado, and lastly, the Honorable Dave Williams, former Aurora City Council member. We will now hear from 4 speakers, and then Steve, first we will hear from former Mayor of Aurora, Honorable Dennis Champine.
Hi. Yesterday I discovered that the theme for this campaign was One Aurora, and that seemed so consistent when Steve asked me to talk about something here. The thing that came to my mind was his ability to unify. And I don't know that there's anything more important for a mayor than be able to bring people together, people with different opinions and positions, and find some common ground and find solutions to problems. He's done that all the time that I've known him, the 30 years that I've known him. That's been his ability. It's a skill. It goes beyond many other skills, but it's probably the most important one. I just want to say that I don't know anybody better prepared for this job, with the skill and the will to move this city forward. He's a terrific guy, and I feel good about endorsing him. Now, let me introduce to you my friend, my former colleague, and the longtime former mayor of Aurora, Paul Tower.
That's what I always hated about coming up to the microphone after somebody, especially when Steve used to be in front of me, or somebody like Wellington Webb. Anyway, good morning. Isn't this great? It's nice to be able to celebrate in this day and age, at this time, to celebrate somebody's announcement for running for mayor. You know, as having been in elected office for 24 years in Aurora as a councilman and as the mayor, needless to say, I'm invested in the city of Aurora, and I'm concerned about what's going to happen to the city. And I was concerned about who would be the next mayor. And over a year ago, I talked to Steve and I encouraged him to think about running for mayor. And I'm absolutely delighted that he's made the decision to do so. You know, I've known Steve for over 30 years, since he and I ran together for city council members at large back in 1979. And in fact, the two of us were elected and defeated an incumbent council member and a former mayor to get those positions. And that was the beginning of our long-time relationship on city council, and with me as mayor and him on council, and the various projects and programs that we were involved in over those years. And the one thing that I could always count on, although Steve and I, obviously, any two political people don't always agree, and we didn't always agree, but one thing I could always count on is that I could always get Steve's ear, talk to him about an issue, get him to think about it, and sometimes we'd be together and sometimes we wouldn't. But afterwards, there was no animosity. We always had that friendship that we developed way back when. And I'm just delighted to be able to say that I endorse Steve for mayor, and I'm hoping that he will be elected. I think as the next mayor of the city of Aurora, he will continue to take this city forward, and he will do a tremendous job. So, Steve, best of luck. And now I'd like to introduce Randy Rester.
Woo! Okay, I've got the same comment except going up with the microphone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Tower. Good morning. I'm Randy Rester, President of Aurora Firefighters Protective Association. I'm proud to stand before you today representing over 300 members of Aurora Firefighters Local 1290, for endorsing Steve Hogan, the next mayor of Aurora. Steve has had a long history working with us and has stood with us on many occasions. Steve has proven that he is someone we can trust, and in our job, that's very important. I will end by saying, Steve, you've had our backs for 24 years, and now we have yours. Thank you. Now, Tom Ashburn, would you please come up?
Thanks, Randy, and you know, it's an honor and a privilege to say a few words about my friend, Steve Hogan. It's kind of fun to be up here with two former mayors in the fire department, and I'm just kind of a local political activist, if you will, in the city. I've basically known Steve for a lot longer than these guys. We used to play Little League Baseball against each other, and my team always won back a few years ago. I'd like to add my support as a friend, as an involved citizen, and as a member of the business community. I've lived in Aurora 34 years. I've been very active in Aurora during that time, from being president of my homeowners association involved in many boards and commissions, including the Library Board of Trustees, the Business Advisory Board, the Capital Choices Committee, the Citizens Budget Committee, to name a few. I've also been involved in the local business community as past president and chairman of the board of the Aurora Chamber of Commerce and on the board of the Aurora Economic Development Council. In fact, a story of how I got involved as being involved in politics many years ago. I was president of my homeowners association, and we had heard that Steve was actually on council then. We had heard that the city was going to try to buy the golf course, and they didn't really inform us citizens around it, so I got kind of mad and called Steve from old time, and he listened to us. He gave us some advice and counsel on how to proceed, and it was always kind of a reacquaintance back then when that happened. I believe that Steve is the candidate for mayor. He is the guy to bring the city, lead the city to the future. He does have in my experience, the ability to resolve issues, to partner with all constituents, whether it's neighborhood, individual citizens, business, and always looks at the best interest of all three of those constituents. I think that's really important. He listens to the business community. Now, he may not always agree with you, in my experience, because many times he and I don't agree, but on the other hand, he listens and he truly tries to compromise, and I think that's another skill that I think is really, really important. You know, the city, Aurora, faces a number of financial challenges in the future, not unlike the state of Colorado, not unlike many other municipalities in the state. Steve is the one to provide the leadership to address these challenges. He understands the value of regional perspective, which is very important to the city's future success. As a councilman, he has provided leadership in the redevelopment of Fitzsimmons, protecting land around Buckley Air Force Base, supporting economic development and jobs. I know he'll continue his commitment to these important issues. Steve has a track record in getting things done. Has demonstrated that by his leadership at E470 and the Northwest Parkway projects. Aurora is a great city. It's a great future. I have confidence that Steve is the one to lead the city into the future as the next mayor of Aurora, as one Aurora. And it's my honor to introduce Steve Hogan as the next mayor of Aurora.